Good morning, third graders. Happy Thursday. We're back at language again. I hope that quiz wasn't too tricky yesterday. I'm going to be going over those answers with you today if I didn't get to talk with you yesterday. Okay? If you haven't sent me the picture of that, though, go ahead and do that today because it'll make it easier when we're going over the answers together. Okay? All right. So, as usual, have your English 3 book. We are opened up to page 241, 242. Today is a regular lesson, so we're not going to do the quiz type thing. I'm just going to teach on the board, and then I'm going to use that same app to be able to share the screen, so that's kind of fun. So I know I won't talk as loud. I feel like I talked so loud yesterday. Okay, on the second part. All right, so today we're shifting. I'm kind of like, adjectives and adverbs are so tricky, right, guys? I want you to know that it's the hardest thing. Miss Evans has told me the same thing. Adjectives and adverbs are the hardest lesson that she teaches. So if you felt like, oh, it was a little confusing or I don't know how I did, it's normal. It's the hardest part of speech because there's so much thinking with it. It's not just like looking for an action or looking for who's the sentence about, who's our person, place, or thing. So it is tricky, so don't worry if that was hard. We're going to review that every year, okay? All right, let's look at our board for commas today. So who knows what a comma is? It's that little, like, curve thing, right? That we sometimes put after words in our sentences. So we know we have, like, punctuation at the end, like periods, exclamation marks, question marks, but commas are usually used in the middle when you're writing a sentence. And we're going to learn the 5 most common times that commas are used in sentences, okay? And see which ones you recognize if you notice this in your books that you're reading and things like that. So let's look at our first rule. Commas are used to separate words in a series. Okay, so I'm going to use my red pen here to put our commas in. I used 3 kids from class today. So Mateo, Mikey, and Malachi are friends. All right, does anyone know where we put the commas? We put the commas after the person's name if we're listing a bunch of things in a series. So in this sentence, we're listing 3 people. So I'm going to say Mateo, comma, Mikey, comma, and Malachi are friends. Now, did you notice I didn't put a comma after Malachi? Because he's the last name in that sentence, in that series. So if there was 4 friends, like let's say it was Mateo, comma, Mikey, comma, Malachi, comma, and Emmanuel are friends, then I would have to put a comma after Malachi. But since Malachi is the last name in the series, and we see that and, we don't have to, okay? Now, a series isn't just people or things, it could be actions. So look at this sentence. This is with Charlotte. Charlotte hit the ball, ran to first base, and smiled. Now, there's only one person in our sentence, Charlotte, but she did 3 things in our sentence. What was the first thing she did? Charlotte hit the ball. That's where my comma goes. What was the second thing she did? She hit the ball, ran to first base, not just ran to first, right? Because base is part of it. Ran to first base, comma, and smiled. She was happy about getting on first base, right? Okay, so same thing with and. When you see that, that's telling you I'm done with the series and I don't need any more commas, okay? All right, so this is the most common type that we see commas in a sentence, guys. So those are the ones, look for them when you're reading. It's kind of fun when we learn a new skill. If you see it in your novels or your books that you're reading for AR, kind of take note of it and try to see which rule it is, okay? All right, let's look at our next rule. Commas are used to separate the day of the month from the year in dates. So today is April 2nd, 2020. Now we write our date every day in 3rd grade. Where do I put the comma? April 2nd, comma, 2020. That's right. It goes in between the year and the date. Now, the book doesn't teach us this, but if I wanted to say today's Thursday, comma, April 2nd, I would put a comma you heard between the day of the week and the month. Okay, but most of the time when I write it on the board or we write it on paper, we just start with the month. We don't start with the day of the week. All right, let's go to our third rule. Commas are used after most time order words. So you know what time order words, guys, are? First, second, then, next, finally, right? Now there's two that don't typically have commas after them. That's why it says after most time order words, but not all. So then, like, then she went to the store. I wouldn't write then, comma, she went to the store. Just then she went to the store. Also for now. Now it's time to go play outside. We don't need a comma after now. Okay, so those are two time order words that don't need commas after them. So let's see where we need on this one. We've got Stella in our next sentence. Next, Stella's team will start cheering. They're going to be in a competition. What was my time order word? Next. That means they're up next, right? Next, comma, Stella's team will start cheering. All right, let's look at our next sentence. It's using dialogue. So dialogue, remember, guys, is when people talk to each other, right? Comma, quotation marks. We learned that in a lot of our narrative writing that we were doing in the beginning of the year. So let's look at this. Lee, may I come to your house? Now, I didn't have, asked, who wants to go to Lee's house? Ask Malachi. Just make up someone, right? Okay. I didn't have his tag there, speaker tag at the end, but a comma does go in this sentence. Does anyone know where? After Lee. If you were talking to someone in a dialogue, so I'm asking a question like, Leah, comma, what did you do yesterday? I'm talking to her. Now, if I'm just talking about someone, so like let's say I just said, Lee has a little brother. Am I talking to Lee? No, I'm just talking about him. Lee has a little brother. I don't need a comma after his name. If I said, Lee, do you have a little brother? Now am I talking to Lee? Yes, I would need a comma after his name. Lee, comma, do you have a little brother? Okay, so if you're talking directly to a person, you put a comma after their name. All right, now this is his reply. Of course, he replied. Okay, now I do have my speaker tag. Does anyone know where the comma goes here? Yes, right before the quotation. So you know how we do that? Quotation marks, of course, comma, quotation marks. He replied, period, right? So if someone's talking and it's not like a question mark, it would have been a period there, of course, period, he replied. We don't put the period, we put a comma after the dialogue that is said, okay? This is something we've learned already, but it's been a little while, so you might need a refresher. Okay, and then the last one is used in letters. Now, I already put these in, but for the greeting, think of our thing. Heading, greeting, body, closing, body, closing, body, closing, heading, greeting, body, closing, signature. Right, all the way at our feet. You could do that song if you want. Okay, so our heading has two. It usually has your city and state, right? Chula Vista, comma, California. And then we also put the date. So those are two commas in a letter. You're also going to have it in the greeting with whoever you're writing to. Dear Grandma, comma. Dear Sasha, comma, whoever I'm writing to. And then in your closing, your friend, comma, or sincerely, comma, love, comma, right? So whenever you're done with your letter and you're ending it, that's your closing, we always put a comma there. All right, so these are the most common types of commas that we're going to see in stuff that you guys are reading and writing. There might be more, so I want you to look, be a detective in your writing, and if you find a comma and it doesn't seem like one of these rules, on our call, I want you to tell me, Mrs. Roach, I found a comma and it wasn't any of these. We'll go over it because there are more rules, and I'll kind of show you those too if you guys can find them. All right, so let's get our book open. I am going to share our screen. So we have our paper up. I'm going to turn it like this so I guess it doesn't matter, right? Well, I guess I like it like this. Okay, all right. Okay, it's bigger for me to see. So this is what we already covered, friends. So you see it's got the nouns in a series, verbs in a series, and they actually added one adjectives in a series there. So if I was describing something and I was using a lot of adjectives, Kara's skirt, we're right here. Kara's skirt has red, comma, white, comma, and blue designs on it. I was listing 3 different words to describe her skirt, and that's why there's commas in between there. The rest of these are ones we just talked about. You can see that letter, right, in the heading in between Selma, comma, Alabama, May 4th, comma, 2004, Dear Roger, comma, your friend, comma. So those are all the spots in a letter. All right, so now we get to do this together. So we're gonna do the front all together, and then the back, we're gonna see how much you guys can do on your own, and then I'll give you the answers and you can check it, okay? All right, so let's look at number 1. We saw crocodiles, alligators, and snakes at the reptile farm. Okay, where do you think our commas go there? It seems like it's the first rule. We're listing many things in a series, right? Because he didn't just see one animal. What did we see? We saw crocodiles, alligators, and snakes. So let's see where we're going to put our commas. All right, so, and they have us doing that little caret and then adding the comma. Go ahead and just do the comma. I think we can see that okay. I'm going to make my pen a little bigger. So we saw crocodiles, comma, alligators, comma, and snakes at the reptile farm. Now remember, we don't put a comma, it's a little too thick. We don't put a comma after we see and. Once we see and, we don't need any more commas when we're listing things in a series. I'm gonna make those a little smaller, they're a little bit thick. Okay, so crocodiles, comma, alligators, comma, and snakes. Okay, let's look at the next one. Dear Mrs. Armstrong. Oh, sounds like we're writing a letter, right? That's our greeting. Where does it go? A lot of kids say after dear, they'll go dear, comma, grandma. But where does it go? Dear Mrs. Armstrong, comma. It goes after the name, okay? So make sure you put it there. All right, here's some dialogue. I need a new pencil, Carlos said. All right, I'm not talking to Carlos, so it's not gonna go after Carlos's name. Does anyone see where it goes? If you said after pencil, you're right. I need a new pencil, comma, Carlos said. Good job. Let's try the next one. Next, the alarm sounded. Time order word, where does it go? Next, comma, the alarm sounded. All right, let's try number 5. The campers ate, swam, and played games. I'm listing a bunch of things. Remember in Charlotte's sentence on the board, she did those 3 things. So these are the campers. What 3 things did they do? The campers ate, swam, and played games. Okay, let's see if you can put the commas in where they go. Let's see, did you do this? The campers ate, comma, swam, comma, and played games. Once we see the and, no more commas needed. All right, and our last one, August 19th, 2007. Where does my comma go? That's right after the 19, in between the day of the month and the year. All right, okay, so you guys seem like you're doing really well on this. Let's go to the back. Oh, that poor crying baby. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the first part, they show you 2 different ones. So it says Perrington, Texas, comma, 79070. That is a city-state zip code. So is that how we do it? Or is it Parrington, comma, Texas, 79070? So think of it like Chula Vista, California, 91913, or whatever your zip code is. What do we need? Where does the comma go? Okay, so try 1 through 3. Look where the commas are and try to pick, because they're going to try to trick you and put them in funny places. Okay, so try those. Then on number 4, you're actually going to put the commas in just like we did on the front. And then here's the challenge. There are 8 missing commas in that box about Ryan. So you're going to read the whole 2 paragraphs all about Ryan and what he did with his grandparents. Find the 8 missing commas and insert them where they go. And then on the bottom, you get to write your own sentence telling what you like to do in the summer. Oh, and I can't wait for summer. When all of this is over, right? We can go out and play and everyone is healthy. We just got to keep praying for that, huh, guys? Okay, so go ahead and try this back. I want everyone to pause the video right now. I'm going to have this up. Go ahead and pause it, complete the entire page, and then push play to check your answers. Okay, everyone push pause. All right, so I hope you all finished. If you didn't finish, push pause again. Okay, here we go. I'm going to slide it up. These are your answers for 1 through 3. If you missed any, I want you to circle it and on your paper so that we can go over this together. It's really important that we learn from our mistakes. Mistakes are okay. We just want to make sure you know why. We don't want to just fix it. Okay, so find the ones you missed, and then I love to go over those with you. And guess what? All the kids make the same mistake, so it's good for me to kind of see which ones are tricky. All right, look at our next section. Do you have all those commas in the right spot? They did the little caret. You can just have the comma, that's fine. Okay, and now those 8, did you find all of these? Check it carefully. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this part up. You go ahead and finish checking to make sure you had all the commas correct. And then when I give you a call, we'll go over your answers together, okay? And guys, tomorrow's Friday, which is gonna be our fun day. I'm gonna try to do some fun things with you guys tomorrow. Bible's gonna be great. You're gonna see we're gonna try and make it look really happy, not like yesterday's Bible that was so sad, right? So tomorrow's the happy day. And remember, this is our last page of the week in language. Tomorrow in math and language, we'll do reviews. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful, I guess I can stop sharing this. I can see you guys better. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow on Friday. All right, have a good rest of your afternoon, guys. Bye-bye.